Hey, what's good, everybody? It's your boy Disbearity here, and today we're going to be watching this Total War What's Upcoming Next video for Total War Warhammer 3. So I'm excited to get up in here and see what they're going to be doing for the game, and also to see what they're going to be adding in for my boy Khorne. As you guys know, I love Khorne, and seeing the slaughter come to life, can't wait for y'all. So let's go ahead and get on to this right here. Let's go, let me go ahead and skip a little bit forward here. Let's go about, right here. Start here.
Gentlemen.
And Sean, how about you?
Yeah, I'm the lead designer on the next project coming up now. So I'm focused primarily on keeping the team focused and bringing it together ready for the end of this year.
Awesome.
Okay.
And we also have Mitch with us today, who's heading up the project to bring the kind of smaller updates and refreshes to the game in the interim patches in between the DLCs.
Okay.
Like 5.2, which you would have just got your hands on. Mitch, do you want to give us a quick introduction?
5.2 was a pretty good patch, I'm not gonna lie.
So maybe your history with the Warhammer series?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Mitch. Some people will remember me. Thinking way back to Beastmen is where I joined the project.
Warhammer
were originally the team.
Oh my gosh.
And I worked on every DLC all the way up to Immortal Empires.
See, what's really interesting is that it's been since 2016, 16, 17, since I legitly played the Beastmen. Like, it's been that long.
Some of the big notes in there were Tomb Kings and Vampire Coast.
I just wasn't feeling them.
A couple
like,
of the
as
ones
my
I led,
faction.
some of my favorites. I then took a small hiatus after Immortal Empires, but now I'm back. And like you said, I'm going to be working on the patches and the updates, and just really having a think how we can bring all of the old content a bit more up to date.
Awesome.
All right,
Thanks,
I
Mitch,
like
and
that.
welcome back.
Thank you.
Guys, as you guys know, there's a lot of things that they got to work on. I mean, one of them is literally just the geomantic web for the Lizardman, because that was teased like a long time ago, and that thing's just there. Like, it's like when you play the Lizardman, it's like, have you just ever thought about using the geometric web?
Let's jump into a couple of questions about the next DLC. So in the last video we spoke a bit about the new legendary lords that were coming, gave some little bits of juicy information there. Is there any update on how things are going?
Yeah, things are going really well. We are way into our production pipeline now. So you would have seen from the last video some of the creatures and characters coming to life with some of the animations, and we're also now working on lots of our audio content as well. So how these things are going to sound, how we're developing our designs, which I'm sure Sean will talk a little bit about later.
Also, I like to say I really appreciate how upfront CA has been with us when it comes to Total War Warhammer 3 and what's coming for the future. Because we're going into what it came out like 22, right? If I recall, something like that. So we're coming to like its second year, and we're still getting we're getting content. It's still not a lot though, like compared to Warhammer 2. But I like them being upfront now, since this whole Shadows of Change thing happened about a year ago.
As we push forward in rounding out, the development process, where we're going to iterate and then do some bug fixing and the like before we get to release. So looking really good.
Sean, how are things going from your end? What are you doing at the moment?
Well, we're actually almost at like a playtesting stage now, so we've got it all together. It's a beautiful masterpiece that is filled with problems. So we will play test it, we'll iron out those kinks, and we'll fix all the bugs.
I fucking believe it.
So yeah, we're just shifting into that phase now, which is for us the most important phase. So we'll be really relying on our QA team to give us lots of feedback, and we'll spend a lot of time playtesting ourselves. But as we shift into iteration, what looks like an amazing idea right now, we'll play it and go like, oh, actually maybe we could shift it this way or that way, and that's where like the real magic comes together, and that's what we've learned over the years, that this is like the most crucial stage to get like the best product. So we are there now, and we are not wasting any time with what we have.
So a word that you guys both mentioned there is iteration. And for those who don't know what that is, what is that, and what is that stage when you're in game development?
So we have like a few key stages for us. So we have the pre-production stage, which is where we decide what we're making. We've figured out who the characters are, what's the goal, what's the pillars to lean towards. After pre-production, we know what we're making. We shift into production when we start producing it. We make it, and during that stage, we just kind of have like the first draft. So once it all comes together, we then play test that, and we go, okay, so what was good, what was bad, what maybe it's like completely the wrong direction. We think we've missed the mark. As we get into iteration, that's where we take a stop, we address it, we think, okay, we need to turn left here or go right there, and then we have a good few weeks of doing that, and then at the end of that, we then shift towards bug fixing so that we can polish the product ready for release.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely where we sprinkle a little bit of pixie dust.
So that, I mean, what month? We're in September. We're not. I guess we're not going to see this DLC until like at least I want to say late October or early November for sure before they go on holiday.
Magic into it, and just really polish it out.
So let's look at these new legendary lords. Let's look at Gorbad for the first one.
Okay.
Is there any extra stuff based, what you told us before? Any new stuff that you can talk about today regarding his playstyle mechanics? Anything about him?
Yeah, I can go a little bit more detail. So last time we talked about how he was, this tactician that brings all flavors of the Orcs and Goblins roster together. And we've dug into that a bit further, and we've come up with a name in progress, but apt de plan. Which is a feature around Gorbad experimenting with what different units in the roster can put together, and if those form a plan,
his
in
art
head,
looks pretty good, honestly.
He can then create a unique strategy around them. So it might be, send out some goblins in front of the archers, and they can pick up the arrows. And it's like, well, now you've got a way to regenerate your ammunition during the battle because he's got arrow catchers. Go and get it.
Okay, that's
maybe it's
kind of
a more
interesting.
campaign-focused thing of like, what if I bring loads of wolf riders? Then I can do better raiding. So it's all ideas around.
He's really getting the character too. I like that.
And that can have both campaign and battle interactions to make him quite different.
So you've mentioned units. Are there any that you can tell us about today?
Yeah, I think the unit I most want to talk about is the character, is the Savage Orc Shaman. So to go back to
Savage Orc Shaman, okay.
The game and trying to find where it makes sense. For us, we thought we have Wurzag in game right now. We've got lots of Savage Orc tribes in game.
Yeah.
But none of them are being actually led by Savage Orcs, which they should be. So if we bring in the Savage Orc Shaman, we can right that wrong, and we can bring in a new bit of gameplay, but also refresh some old experiences and make it feel a bit more authentic to the Warhammer world. It's weird having a Savage Orc tribe led by an orc.
Yeah.
Now, that's the goal.
Yeah, we want to give you that flavour.
Yeah.
We had that in the past with Shadows of Change, and didn't quite get that right there with Mother Stankia. So
yeah,
absolutely want to make sure that you can role play out the armies that you want to build.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Sean was like dead set on getting this character in.
So with that said, I wonder if Kisley is going to get new units or a small little rework here and there. That's what I'm wondering here. So I mean, hopefully we can see that happen or become a thing.
For you.
Yeah, when we brought in the Savage Orc, it did make us take another look at Wurzag. They're like, well, if we're giving him another character, maybe we should take a look at what he's up to. So we've actually moved him as well. So we've moved him from the Badlands down to the Southland jungles to pay homage to his origin in his 8th edition lore. And we're working like a little nod to his connection with Gork and Mork and the Savage Orc tribe. So
Wait. Okay, no, he's moving to the south. Okay. I was like thinking about how like Southlands. Is that a good choice? I'm just thinking in my head. I mean, yeah, I can see it. Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, a new fresh experience there. Something we're looking.
I mean, it's in its lore, so might as well, right?
Awesome.
Yeah. So we want to see your best Wurzag dance.
The time will come, I'm sure. I'm sure if there's enough demand for it. So what about Golgfag? What's coming down that line with the Ogre Kingdoms? Is there more stuff that you can tell us about now?
Ogre Kingdoms needs this rework. 100%. They need this rework.
I'm heavily aiming at you to.
They really need this. Like, honestly, they need a pedicure, manicure. They need whatever they can do to make themselves feel good.
I'm in the crosshairs.
Yes, because you're heading this all up. you've got all the juicy details.
Yeah, I'll make sure I do a good job. So Golgfag, I mentioned earlier, he is the mercenary guy. So we have to make him a mercenary, right? Like, we have to create the first proper mercenary faction in Warhammer 3. So we've got a brand new feature set now where you can take on Golgfag's contracts. And you actually work for another faction. So if I create a scenario here,
sorry,
we obviously had to deliver a mercenary experience. So for the first time in Warhammer 3, we're trying to create a faction that plays like a mercenary. So you will work for other factions. So in his new feature, Golgfag's contracts, so you can, let's say Carl Franz is having some trouble with Vlad, and he offers you a job. You can take on all his wars and go, okay, I'll work for you, Carl. You beat up Vlad and maybe Drycha's causing trouble, or Kemmler as well. If you do enough good job for him, beat up his enemies, maybe gift some of the settlements to him, you can fulfill your contract, and Carl will give you a nice big juicy payday at the end of that. So and we've even tried to keep it like, you're a neutral party, you're just a mercenary. So a lot of the diplomacy that comes with beating up Vlad well, actually gets passed on to Carl. Like, you know, he's the one that hired you. It's not Goldfag's fault that
Yeah.
he's doing a good job. So at the end of that contract, maybe Vlad says, could you work for me instead and take on Carl next? So we've created this new experience where he does kind of roam the world, taking on the jobs and beating up anyone he fancies.
So with that said here, it feels like a prerequisite to, or they're at least testing out like a Dogs of War-esque kind of faction, which is really cool. I like what they're going with this here.
Interesting.
That's unique.
I'm going to throw another one at you.
Very unique.
I don't know if you can guess what I'm going to ask you.
Do you want some more content? Do you want a crumb of content? Yeah.
Maybe a little bit. Are we going to do this again?
We're going to do it again.
A little tiny bit of content about Khorne and Skulltaker.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. Khorne and Skulltaker. Let's go.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to ask about another ogre piece of content, which I could say we're doing the Yetis, but I guess we'll go straight into Skulltaker if you want.
Sorry, what? Yetis?
Yeah, the Yetis, but we'll move on from that. Yeah.
Tell us, you can cut that. Tell us a bit about Yetis.
The Yetis are like a monstrous infantry unit for the ogre roster. They are like quite ice imbued and come from the deep recesses of the mountains.
Okay, that's cool.
Ogre Kingdoms, and to give them a bit of a difference from Gorges, who are quite aggressive, charging in. The Yetis actually come with like a passive debuff, a bit, an aura of frost. I think is our working title. So you want to mix them into your roster in places to debuff the enemy, so that your ogre bulls can really hit them hard on the charge.
So
really
that's like you want to send them.
big?
So it's like you want to send them in first, do the work, and send your older bulls in there. Okay.
Just big.
Just big, okay. Just one.
Yeah, big, furry.
Yeah.
As a Yeti should be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Are they soft and fluffy?
I wouldn't pet them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let's have a look at Khorne.
Yes.
Skulltaker.
Let's.
Yes.
What new info can you give us?
Well, I think last time I told you that he's a champion hunter. You know, that's his probably gameplay role there. So again, we've dialed
Skulltaker looks so good
side as well. With Skulltaker, he's all about hunting down champions.
So good.
Taking champions, taking their skulls.
Yes.
And for us, we are trying to capture that with him. When he defeats characters in campaign, he will claim a portion of their strength, some of their champion essence, which he can then use to imbue his.
He looks so good.
And the whole idea of the feature is seek out, powerful characters, defeat them, claim some of their strength, and empower yourself even further, so that you can become the ultimate Khorne champion and the ultimate champion of the Warhammer world.
Okay.
So it's literally a process of the more people you kill, the stronger you are.
Yeah.
And if anyone starts to look
Pretty basic,
tough,
but hey, I like
kill
it.
them, right? And then you take their strength, and now you're
And
even
then you're
tougher.
tougher.
Exactly.
And it's just exponential until you're champion of everything.
Yeah, until he's stood at the top of the peak alone.
Yeah, he's got skulls everywhere. I was looking at the art the other day, what our character artists have done, and even his sword on the blade, there are skulls etched all the way up there. The guy is fully stocked.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Units. Are there any new units or anything like that you can talk about for Khorne for this DLC?
Yeah. Are there?
Let's talk a little bit about what we've got coming for them.
Okay.
And I guess touching back on the other questions that you asked about how we produce and package up the content, Khorne's got something slightly different. Not too different, but slightly different in that we've been looking back in all the books and the materials that were sent by Games Workshop. And what we're trying to do, obviously, is create parity across all three different strands of the DLC.
Okay.
Where you've got your Legendary Lord and Legendary Hero and so on. But with Khorne, when we came to look at what other options were available for some of the generic characters, they didn't quite have as much stuff on offer now as maybe what some of the other factions do, as we've been exhausting it through the various different DLCs and products.
Okay.
So Khorne's already got I think three kind of heroes in already, like the cultists and the
Cultists,
like.
yeah.
So there was nothing really more to be added there. We do have a new generic Lord though coming in, which I'm sure we'll talk about in the future.
Okay.
But to fill that gap, what we're doing with Khorne is going to give you two legendary heroes rather than just the one that you see in past experiences.
So I mean, does that all
so
the
Greenskins and Ogres, don't worry, they still fit the same formula, Thrones Decay.
Okay.
But Khorne, you're going to get two legendary heroes, and they've got two pretty cool ones, or I think they are. So first up, we've got Skylar Anthergrim, which I think is one that you've all been talking about and expecting to see. We do.
Is that a chaos? Yeah.
Of a chaos spawn making his
Okay, no,
appearance.
wait.
Massive, ape-like stature and fists. He was a past Norscan chieftain, wasn't he?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, so he's got all this pent-up rage and fury. He just wants to unleash it all. And then the other character, which maybe you're not expecting, but we're equally excited about doing, is Scar Bloodwrath. Now, Scar Bloodwrath
sounds like a female.
is not an 8th edition character per se. He comes from the end times.
Oh, it's a male. Okay,
So,
Scar Bloodwrath.
It made sense when we looked at Khorne, how we can get the best and most exciting characters and units into the
possible
pack.
end times
And
content.
to have him, and it'll make sense when
Possible end times content, like even furthermore? Question mark.
we disclose some more of the content coming as well. Why we chose him, but I think both of those. Very brutal, very vicious. Yeah, very much strong followers of Khorne, so they'll be fun to play around with.
You mentioned a lot about kind of reference materials and things like that you've got, like the books and stuff from Games Workshop. So what do you use as your reference point?
Well, Mitch is really good. You know, one for digging through and turning over every stone and an idea.
No, absolutely, yeah. I think the start of every project is, for me and I'm sure many others,
Find your references.
just taking the army book of whatever you're working on and just reading through it. And then you pull out from the army books, loads of notes related to the characters, the units, and especially the campaign as well. You're always kind of looking for something unique, something interesting that you can pull out from the army book that you can then translate into gameplay. Obviously, it's a little bit more directly translatable with the battle stuff, but in campaign, you're always looking for something just a little bit, unique, something that you can really, and it can be like something really small sometimes. That you can just kind of latch onto and turn it maybe into something quite interesting for a feature or something like that. So you're always reading through the army books, and there's also lots of other books as well and other magazines and various source material that you'll just read throughout the entire project to try and just really immerse yourself in whatever it is you're working on at the time.
So is there like a secret library somewhere in the studio that I've not been to? This material is just like this treasure trove.
There's not a secret library.
Yeah, no, there's not.
Really? Oh, okay. You just take it home, don't you, Sean? You take it home.
It's got my flat, yeah.
Okay, I'm liking this right now.
Awesome, cool, thanks Mitch. Well, we've spoken quite a lot about the DLC now, and looking forward to sharing more info in the near future. Let's have a chat with you now, Mitch, and talk about what you've been doing with the smaller updates and the kind of interim patches and things like that, like 5.2 that we've just seen released. What's your approach to this? So how do you identify what you're going to work on or what you want to add or what you want to refresh and freshen up?
Okay.
Yeah, so I think as players know, there is a lot that we want to freshen up in the game, and we do quite a bit of that in the DLCs. But I think what we want to start doing more of is taking the opportunity to do that with the patches. So that's kind of the initiative we're starting now to kind of make our patches a bit bigger, a bit fuller.
I like the way how they're doing this too, is that so they finally have a custodian team, which is going to be, patching the game and also getting things prepared for this DLC and hopefully make things less buggy, and this helps the main DLC team, put out more content. So this works out pretty well, in my opinion.
And in terms of what goes into them,
or at least it should on paper.
5.2.
As long as they work in tangent.
It came with a couple of things. It came with some new things, and it came with some fixes. And that's something I think we want to keep going forward. So we always want to try and add something new in the patches, something that you can say, hey, I'm going to come back and I'm going to try that new thing out. And you don't necessarily have to wait for a DLC to have like a new experience. So that's always something I think we're going to try and aim for. And then on the point of tackling, fixing up some old content. There's a lot of it. Obviously, we've got a massive amount of content now, so we are going to be listening to players a lot. We've got a great team here that takes all of the feedback from the community and then feeds it to the devs like us. We'll kind of filter through that. We won't necessarily always have the capability to do exactly what people are asking for. So, for example, if people want us to do things like add new lords. In these updates, that's probably not going to be something we're going to be able to do, and we'll focus maybe a little bit more on things like campaign features, fixing up old features, doing some reworks, maybe smaller reworks. Maybe if some of the patches we'll do bigger reworks, maybe like a race rework if we can.
I don't think they need like more content, like more lords, but I feel like now I think this might be a more technical Total War thing, but I have to do a little bit more research on this. I feel as though they should expand the map by a couple more hexes if possible, because I always state this. I feel like everything as it is now, that means that they would have to rework the entire map, because I feel like everything's just too squished. I get that enemies or lords are going to kill each other for like first like 5 turns. But I feel as though if you expand the map just about a couple of hexes or whatever, like let's say example here from Altdorf to Grunborg, it should probably take 1 to 2 turns or something like that. You know, make it a little bit fresh, a little bit different, so that it's just you feel like you have breathing room. I guess right. That's what I'm trying to go with, and I think that's what they should do if possible.
There's going to be quite a bit of variance in these patches in terms of both the scope of them, how big they are, and the kind of content we do in them. And yeah, again, we're going to be player-led. Just because we're not going to do in these updates new lords and characters, that doesn't mean that for old content there aren't going to be any new lords or characters.
Talking about these things that you're reworking and working on, are you able to tell us anything about what's going to be coming next down the line in the next patch?
So that's a good question. As you noted at the start, we're recording this before 5.2 comes out. Okay. So probably what's going to be happening right now, in our time, not in the viewers' time, in the past, we're going to be waiting to see the reception of 5.2. What would be really awesome is to start getting more feedback from players. What is it do they want to see? What content do they want us to go back and fix and update? And if they have even kind of, like I said, we want to do new stuff. So if they've got idea for, new little features that they want to see in the game, it can be, quality of life features, or it can be something a little bit more mechanical like the deeps, then we can look to do that. So at the moment,
I think quality of life features are
on our list.
Let's say like a 75-20, like a 75-25
change. So what we're thinking of doing at some point will be a Bretonnia rework. I think we have looked at them in the past, but they've still got quite a few things that I think we wanna fix and update with them. Most notably, Rich always talk about this quite a lot, is the Green Knight. Mm-hmm. He's on our list for sure, along with some other feature fixes for Bretonnia. So they'll be coming, I think, at some point. Also Kislev, I'll mention them. We've seen a lot of feedback that people want us to take a look at Kislev and kind of update them a little bit. And then we also got some other smaller plans. So I think we've got a big rebalance of the ancillary system and a bunch of new ancillaries that we're looking to do in the near future. The Chaos Invasion, that's also something that we've seen a lot of requests for, which is definitely on our list to kind of bring back in some form. Obviously, it's a little bit different now how we can kind of implement it in Warhammer 3 because all the big bad guys are already on the map. But I think there's some ideas we've got there.
I think so. I always suggest this every single time for y'all who don't know me. Watching videos, you'll get to know me. But anywho, though, I have always suggested this a lot in my personal videos, is that they need to add in realms of chaos, right? And let's say, example here, each mono god faction or leader or whatnot, right? They all have let's say they do like a prerequisite, right? Even Archeon's part of this grouping, right? Where they're fighting in the realms of chaos, basically, right? And basically, this all goes to like an end time scenario where one mono god or Archeon or whatever wins the great battle up there. It could be a quest battle or something like that, right? Wins a great battle, and he can lead every chaos faction into the mortal realm. They can teleport into the mortal realm in order to conquer the mortal realm. Now, keep this in mind, though. This could potentially break the game because, you're getting attacked by multiple armies. So think of it like the Realm of Chaos, where they have portals that come in and whatever, and they cause corruption and stuff like that. I think that would be an actual fun kind of thing to do. And then you could push back against chaos and stuff like that. But I think that it might be an engine kind of limitations for if they can do that, but you never know.
So yeah, that's a couple of things just to name, just to give you a little taste. But yeah, like I said, we'll be waiting for feedback, and we really do want to be player led. So it will, plans might change depending on what it is people want.
As Mitch said, we're gonna try and inject variety of content into these updates. Hopefully, you saw recently. 5.2, we added a couple of Orc and Goblin units. There's other ideas around weapon variants, stuff like that, but that's the sort of thing that we're aiming for at the moment. Whereas, characters like Egrim, I know people are after him. He'd be better suited to a DLC in the future. So, please don't expect those in the minor updates.
So this feedback that you're acting on from the community, whereabouts are you kind of compiling that from? Which channels that we have are you using for that?
Yeah, so we've got a fantastic player experience team here. Like I said, they kind of give us devs like really great feedback directly from players. So you can go on our official forums, our official Discord, and to be honest,
Reddit?
most other social media will find it eventually. And yeah, it's maybe not always obvious, but I can promise you we do get all of the feedback from players, and it is massively helpful in shaping, you know, not only I guess what I do in the updates, but just everything we do in general. So go there, leave all your feedback, it'll reach us, and then we can act on it.
Okay, so this is pretty much over with. So I want to go ahead and give out my last like ending 2 cents here before I can go ahead and close out the video here. I feel as though, as always, CA is on the right track from, you know, what they said in, you know, of course, in the past or whatnot. And I feel like this is a good thing. You know, we're still getting some pretty good content. Of course, the main team, by the way, is working on another Total War, because, you know, they got to pump out a Total War at least once or twice, at least every 1 to 2, 3 years. So, but so far though, I'm really glad to see what they're doing with Total Warhammer 3. And the last DLC that they're working on is going to be Slaanesh. Well, the last that we know of, unless they add in the Kingdoms in Koresh. Now, I would like this whole devlog where they're literally sitting here explaining to us, being very transparent, which is what we needed as a community. If you're a person who joins Total War, we need that transparency. So that's really nice that they're doing that for us. I mean, so I wish them the best. And so let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. How do you guys feel about the way CA is handling things now? Do y'all think they're doing an okay job? Do y'all think they're doing it's a big improvement? Do y'all not like what they're doing? Let me know. If you're new to the channel, consider liking and subscribing. That'd be much appreciated. Thank you guys for hanging out. You guys have a good one. Peace out and much love, y'all. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like and also hit the bell notification down below. Thanks for watching.